Okay, remember that you have to do this, the notch with all the main beams. Okay, so if you have this gap here, at least you have to do it. Okay, select this one, that one, still notch. And this is not what we want. So I want to be here. Okay, so you see that it doesn't happen. So when we have the gap first, before applying the notch, we have to extend this. So there should be an intersection. And when we do have the intersection, then we can apply the notch. That is not what we want. Number one. Okay. And now this one. First, extend it. Second, number one. Number two, still notch. This is not what I want. Number one here. And I didn't extend this enough. You see that this part of the beam doesn't reach to that one. Yeah, so it's be careful. And we have to extend this beyond the beam. And now we can do it. One, two, still notch here. Okay, now it's perfect. It's tricky, so you have to do it many times, and then you will figure out how it works. Okay, but if you don't follow what Revit wants you to do, it doesn't work. Okay, what's next? We have this, so when we have an exposed steel structure, we should be careful with this, and we have two wonderful tools, meter and notch. But now, if we have a shape, a complicated shape like that, it's not if we want to cover this with material, with roofing material, we can't use a roof by default in Revit. It wouldn't work if we have this movement, if we have this tilted beam here and this is horizontal. Okay, if we have just a slope, we can work with the architecture roof like this. But if we don't have, or if we have different angles in different, if we want to cover this roof, we have to do something. We have to do something different. There are different ways to do that. I'm going to show you how to work with massing and modeling, and probably there are other ways to do it, but I think this is a good way, especially when we have roofs like this. Okay, so here we have a straight part. This rectangle is straight. All these elements are horizontal. How can you find out? If you click here and the start and the end level are 0, that means that both, yeah, so it's a horizontal element. So all these elements are horizontal, but this one is not. Okay, so this one starts at 2 and ends at 0. And this one, it's 0 and 0. Okay, so we have like, this is not a horizontal element. So I'm going to do something to cover this shape. How can we do it? I told you that using massing and site can help. We're going to use massing and site. You see that here we have curtain systems, we have roof, walls, floors. First, I want to create an in-place mass, and then I will turn this in-place mass, that can be any shape. I'm going to turn this into a roof. Okay, that's so first I can create a shape, and then I create a solid element, because a mass is not something solid, it's something transparent, because I want to turn this into a solid element with different layers or different materials. Then I have to use this roof by face tool. Okay, so now we're going to work with a roof that adapts to this shape again. Okay, so we have horizontal beams, we have tilted beams, and then we're going to try to create a roof here. First, we have to define the roof, the work plane. Okay, so let's open level 15. Let's click on roof. And I want to create a roof with a different material. Okay, so usually in this kind of steel structures, everything is made of something metallic. Okay, so I'm going to, if we click like panels. Yeah, so this is the kind of material we are going to use for this roof. As you can see here, we have a core of foam. So this is the thermal insulation, and then we have a thin sheet of can be aluminum, stainless steel, something like that. But this is very it's very cheap, it's very fast. So this is the kind of material or the kind of element we use for these kind of roofs. Okay, so it's waterproof because this is aluminum, so it can be outdoors and indoors. And then we have the thermal insulation here. Okay, so this is the kind of thing we're going to use. First, we have to edit type, and then we have to create this kind of roof. So we edit type. You see that we have to go to structure, edit, and here, I'm going to create this new roof. So the first material is going to be thermal. Here you can select rigid insulation. You type rigid, and you have rigid insulation here. The thickness, it depends. So we are not calculating the thermal performance of the building. Okay, so let's say that it's 5 inches. It can be more, it can be less, depends on. But 5 inches, I think it's not enough for a passive house standard, but it's enough for this exercise. And then we need the finish. We need the external and the internal aluminum layer. So I'm going to insert another layer. I will click here, finish, and this will be aluminum. And well, it has to be something very thin. How it's not 1 inch, half inch, not even a 1/4 inch. It can be 1/8. Yeah, something like that. So this is the external finish, and I can insert another one. We move it down. And then this is another finish, another aluminum layer, and 1/8. 1/8. There you go. So we have 3 layers: aluminum, rigid insulation, and aluminum. 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, I think it can be even 1/16. It's something very, very thin. We apply. Oh, I haven't changed the generic roof. Well, you can always duplicate and create another roof that we're going to rename it at least, and we're going to create a 5-inch sandwich panel. Apply. Okay. So this is the basic roof, 5-inch, and then aluminum inside and outside. I click. Well, if you do this, you have to create a roof finish, and now the roof is in the system. Now we can delete it. Okay, but now next time you open this roof, it's here. Okay. So we're going to use this panel to cover this span, but in the plan it looks fine because it's just a rectangle, but in the 3D it is a rectangle, but it's a rectangle that it's not flat. Okay, so if we want to do that, we need to use, well, there are different ways to do it, but we're going to use massing and modeling. Let's do it. And massing inside, sorry. And we're going to use in place mass. Place. Okay. Before doing that, this is tricky, okay, because we have to create two lines, and then we're going to connect these two lines with the mass. But we have to understand where we are. Okay, so we are going to connect this beam and this beam. But first, we need to know the grids or the grid lines in which this mass will be. It starts here and then it ends here. So we have to find out on level 15. We are going to start here and we're going to end here. So we're going to start on grid A to grid B. Okay, so now that we know that we have to go from grid A to grid B, we can select 3D view. We are in this Massingen side, and we have to set the work plane. Okay, so the first work plane will be that. This is grid A, and the second work plane would be this grid B. So let's do it. Set grid A. And then on grid A, I'm going to pick lines. Okay, so if you click here, pick line, and you select, be careful because you have to select the axis. You don't have to select the beam, or you have to select this middle line here. Okay, so now this is selected. And now I have to select the second line, but I have to set the work plane first. So it's not grid A, it's grid B. And now I have to select this, pick line, and you have to select this axis here. Okay, so you see that we have selected this line and that line. Now we have to click modify, and we have to select both. This first, control, and this one. You see that I'm holding a control because you see this plus sign here. Okay, we select these two. And now we can create form. We click here, we have solid and void. We're going to create the solid form. See what happens? Yeah, so you see that here we have something transparent, and this is what a mass is. It's not an element, it's something transparent, but that adapts to the shape that we have created. Okay, so we finish mass. There you go. And now you see that we have here this mass. Okay, but now we have to turn this into actual material, into the roof that we have previously created. How can we do that? We have to go to massing inside. We have to select the mass. Sometimes if you hover the mouse, sometimes it's difficult to select just the mass. Here I have selected the mass, but I think it's easier if you drag a window, filter, and then you just select the mass. Okay, and to go to massing inside, and I have to select the roof by face. Okay, so select roof, make sure that it's the 5-inch sandwich panel that we have already created. And well, I have to select the mass again. There you go, and click create roof. And you have this, so it has a thickness. The thing is that I go from this plane downwards, and it should be the other way around. Okay, so now we select this, we filter, and you see that we have masses, roofs, beam systems, and beam framing. I want to select the roof now. Apply. And I want to move it, the level offset. If it's a 5-inch roof, I can move it 5 inches up. There you go. And now we have this nice roof covering this beam system, and the roof is adapted to, it's not a plane, it's not a flat surface. So that's why you can't use the roof tool. If you want to create a roof with these kind of shapes, you have to select the massing and side. We can do it again. So let's do it here, sample. Okay, so I go to in place mass. Okay, now I have to find out what axis we're going to use, and I'm going to do it here from grid E to grid F. So I go to the 3D view. I set grid E, pick lines, make sure that you select. Sometimes you have this dashed line, so make sure that you select the dashed line, this. Now we have to set this on grid F. Now you have to pick, make sure that you select this dashed line. Here you go. And now remember that you have to click modify, and now you have to select both lines. This one first, control, and this one second. Be careful, you don't have to select the beam, you have to select the line. When we have this, we can create form, solid form, and we can finish the mass. And now we have to create the roof itself. So massing inside, roof, select the mass. I'm going to do it again, so I'm going to select everything. Well, here you can only select a mass. You can select beams or whatever. You can only select masses, and then create roof. It's not. We have to move it up. So let's do it. Select this and filter. I want to select only the roof. So check none, roof, apply. Okay. And I want to move it 5 inches up. There you go. Is there a way to do this? So is there a way to select this and having a mass that, not that I know of? Okay, so you have to go one by one. So that's why when we're working with this kind of things, having a module, it's very important, because if each module is different, you have to do it many times. But if the modules are the same, we can select the roof, apply. We can use a mirror, and we can select this axis, and hopefully it works. Okay, so if you're working with modular architecture, if all the modules are the same, if all the angles are the same, you don't have to work twice or 3 times or 4 times or 20 times. You just can copy or use the mirror. Okay, so you have to do it once, and then you can just mirror, and then you can create this roof. Okay, so on the next tutorial, we will try to cover this roof here. Okay, so we have to figure out how to cover the space or the span between trusses.